Hello everyone, I'm Klaudia enthusiastically welcoming you to episode 7 of the Enthu English podcast. Stay with me for a little while and discover the secrets behind how children effortlessly pick up foreign languages and how you can harness the power of your adult brain to learn just as naturally. In this episode, I explored the fascinating differences between declarative and non-declarative memory, these two types of your memory, and how they influence your language learning journey. Let me suggest one activity before we move on to the main topic. How about writing down 3 to 5 chunks that catch your attention? You might like to do this activity in the second listening rather than right now. So now I'd suggest that you focus your energies on the ideas of this episode first and then explore the language within it. Here, without keeping you any longer, join me on this enchanting adventure to become an enthusiastic English language speaker and watch your skills soar like a bird shooting up energetically into the blue sky. And by the way, I hope the weather is cloudless in your place and you're enjoying the peace of the blue sky. Alright guys, who doesn't wish they could soak up any language? Soak up any language. You know, like a sponge soaking up water during rain or snow melt. Thinking of kids' ability to learn a foreign language with little effort makes many of us adults envious. And, these types of thoughts like, why not me? What about me? They complain in despair. How are kids different then? Without doubt, kids are excellent language detectives. When they learn a language naturally, they absorb, so they soak up different patterns effortlessly. It's like magic, wouldn't you agree? They pick up on which syllables tend to dance together, for example, or when certain words prefer to party together in sentences. Think of all the relationships between sounds, letters, and words, sentences. There's chemistry, and children are really good at noticing and picking up these nuances. Yeah, you might think it's outright unfair. There's little you can do about this difference. That is, you cannot have the same brain as children, the one that makes it remarkably easier for them to learn languages. But do not despair. There is a spark of hope in especially what research tells us about how these differences work and what you can do to help your adult brain learn with more ease and fun. Yes, learning should be fun. I strongly believe it should. It's not possible every time, yes, or all the time, but we can actively bring this pleasure into our learning, consciously, proactively, intentionally. You're listening to the Enthu English podcast. I'm Klaudia. And here's my invitation for you to join me in a full-time conversation lesson that explores the topic of, and how is it going to be related to our conversation today? The topic is deja vu, and it's not the end, the opposite of that. Yes, there is such a fascinating phenomenon. And what is that? Join me in class on a fruitful vocabulary, grammar, and speaking skill adventure. Alright, back to our topic. When you learn new things, there are 2 different ways your brain does it. And I'm talking about your powerful memory. So much underrated and underappreciated, I think. First, there's something called declarative memory. So now I'm going to discuss these 2 types of memory. Declarative memory. This is when you memorize specific stuff like facts and events. For example, when you learn that the capital of France is Paris, or that 2 plus 2 is 4, that's declarative memory at work. And us adults, are really good at this because they have a special part of the brain that helps them pay attention and remember things easily. Attention, yes. Then let's talk about non-declarative memory. This is when you learn skills and habits, even the habits of mind, your mental habits, without even thinking about it, like riding a bike, playing a musical instrument, or doing a cool dance move, maybe to impress your friends. Those are all non-declarative memories. Kids are awesome at this because their brains have a specially dedicated part of the brain that's really good at learning these skills from experience. And this actually develops early in them. Here's the tricky part. Sometimes, and seriously, it happens, these two memory systems compete with each other, like I imagine wild animals butting heads, this emotionally charged situation when you're trying really hard, for example, to memorize something specific like a list of names or dates. It can make it harder for your brain to pick up skills or patterns automatically. So sometimes when you're focusing too much on the facts or mostly on them, you might miss out on learning things more naturally. Just letting things happen on their own. Let the learning happen on its own. And growing evidence suggests that. And here's the bit that I'm totally fascinated by. When non-declarative memory takes the lead, takes charge, our learning demonstrably improves. Woohoo! Yeah, but how do we activate it? I don't think again that what I'm going to say will be mind-opening. Again, this is one of the things that we tend to forget, these little things that can work for us. So just look at it as a gentle reminder. I would say that instead of only trying to focus and memorize, and deeply focus, I'm talking about this deep focus. Of course, it's important to focus deeply on any specific material that you care about, maybe for 10 minutes. The thing is that you really need to make sure that it's not too long, not to over stimulate yourself with information. So it's really important not to go into this deep focus each time when you want to learn. Again, being conscious, being aware of how you learn can be powerful. So give yourself space to experience the language naturally. It's about letting your intuitive learning take the lead, take charge. And you know these things, the activities, like watching TV shows, engaging in discussions, in these light-hearted discussions without any pressure, without stress, where you don't have to think about how you're coming across, how you're performing. Or it can be about enjoying music in the language that you're learning, but enjoying something, especially in terms of songs, and focusing even on the lyrics behind it, but without trying to understand every bit of that. Maybe there's one part of this lyrics that catches your attention and you take it away with you, and that's the end. And you're so much richer, yeah, with this tiny bit. What about cooking dinner, following a recipe in English? Yes, just while cooking, you can learn English. Of course, maybe you have some, you know, your hands are wet, dirty. It doesn't matter. You can bring English into this cooking experience. And when you do need to remember vocabulary or understand grammar and sit down to analyze it. And when you spend time deeply focused on these activities, remember to take a stroll, take a walk, or listen to some instrumental tunes. And what I would say is that there's no one answer to what can work for you. So that's why I'd like you to experiment and try different things for yourself. Here, to reflect on this idea within the podcast episode today, let's turn to some reflection questions. As usual, I am going to repeat it over and over again. There's so much more to discuss and cover. And I cannot imagine not taking the time to reflect. So here are my 3 questions for you to consider. What are you taking away from this episode? Even one tiny bit. What is it? How could using your non-declarative memory help you become fluent? And what activities could you use to activate this non-declarative memory? And finally, which chunks caught your ear? I'm so curious about this one. I'm sure that there might have been some that caught your attention. What would you like to do next to further practice them? All right, so there you have it, Enthu English language learners. Try out these ideas and please let me know what works for you. I'd love to hear from you. Do get in touch with me if you'd like to learn English enthusiastically as well. And before I sign off, make sure to join me for some revision next week. And in 2 weeks, we're going to focus on how to create an ideal learning space that sparks joy and supercharges your learning experience. Stay enthusiastically empowered to improve your fluency. You'll hear from me next week. Bye-bye.